Hello there, EKN Nation. Welcome to another edition of This Week in Karting here on the EKN Radio Network. My name's Rob Howden, joined as always by David Cole. It's been about a month since we've had our last This Week in Karting show. It is December the 2nd. And for those of you who may be new to this particular podcast, we use this show to bring all the major news that hit the EKN homepage over the last couple of weeks, get it all together into a podcast, perfect for listening on your way to work, coming home, that morning or afternoon commute, or maybe now that we're in the off season, you're in the garage, tearing your car apart, thinking about the 2021 season already. An absolutely perfect podcast to put in the background to bring yourself up to speed on everything that's happening in the world of karting. Today's edition of This Week in Karting brought to you by AMAX Racing. The AMAX Racing operation is focused on driver development for karters of all ages. From top-level drivers to grassroots racers or families looking for a team that will help them achieve their goals, AMAX Racing can guide you with the absolute best trackside service at affordable prices. No matter the chassis, AMAX Racing welcomes you and has the experience to put you on the top of the podium. AMAX Racing, all of your karting needs under 110. David, we harp on this all the time. We should probably call this month in karting, and that may be a better idea. Maybe we'll make the adjustment in 2021 because it's been a little over a month since our last episode on October the 29th. But of course, a lot going on throughout the month of November. But dude, we're into December here.
Well, I think we can add to the point that we have multiple shows that we do. It's not just This Week in Karting. We do the debriefs when we're at events. We do the outlaps. We also do a lot of the face-to-face that have been very popular. And we did a bunch during November. We did the Mazda. Sure. So we had 4 shows with that when you encounter Zillage and other shows that we did as well. So, it's hard to fit in a podcast only. Like I'm not dressed in EKN clothing. I'm sitting here in my PJs, almost naked.
Right?
Why not?
Yuck.
I'm just kidding.
But we'll do more of that. We'll do more of these podcasts only too. I like that when we do that. Obviously, we're going to play around. We're going to be really evolving what we do on the EKN YouTube channel. That's something we'll be doing a lot of this year. We'll have not just a live broadcast on YouTube, though, but we're going to come up with a couple of shows that we'll produce in post-production with more video. That's something we're really going to play with for 2021. But as you said, no lack of content coming out here on the EKN Radio Network or on our podcast channels or anything. We've made a big evolution rather throughout 2020, and I'm excited about 2021. I think we'll have a lot of fun with this.
Well, again, there's only so much time during a day, almost so much time during a week that you're able to provide content. And as you said, it's not like we're sitting around doing nothing. We're busy producing all this other content that we're doing. We're still doing our articles on the website. We're still, following social media stuff. So a lot of it just has to do with timing. And, you have your travel schedule. I have my schedule as well, too. So, there's a lot of things going on. You even did a podcast for a rival podcast. So we may need to talk a little bit about that too.
That's true.
But it's just, we kind of just have to go with the flow. There's certain things that happen during the week, which lead to certain things, certain shows, certain topics. And thankfully right now we're able to fit this program in this week because we didn't have any face-to-face happening or any other shows that we had on the queue. So it's just, as you said, it's just kind of ebb and flow of content. We just kind of have to go with what's happening now and what's available.
Well, let me present an awesome segue for you. Well, while so many racers in the North American karting community now have kind of taken their foot off the throttle a little bit, right? Because their season's kind of ending. We're into December. Many of them looking forward, of course, to getting back racing, whether it's at Daytona between Christmas and New Year's, or whether it's the SCUSA Winter Series, or the Florida Winter Tour, or the Challenge of the Americas, all those winter series, or if you're waiting, like many club racers and grassroots racers are, waiting for your season to start again. Let's say it's in March, April, or May, depending on where you live. At eKarting News, we are on the throttle 24/7. That's just what we do, right, David? It never really ends for us. We're a news website, so it's always kind of 24 hours. We don't ever lift off the throttle. So our day, our season is like a 24-hour race, David. It's like a race around the clock. So let's start. Let's let's start by talking about the third annual SimCraft 24-hour race, which is heading to the Bayou. Actually, heading to New Orleans in 2021. Let's segue into our first show, talking about 24 hours of effort we put in. There's a bunch of racers that are going to have to put in a 24-hour day next November. Actually, they've made a big move from usually in January or early February, the SimCraft race heading to November in 2021.
Yeah, a move in location, a move in time.
Yeah.
Obviously, COVID-19 has kind of jumbled up the schedule for 2020, and it's also kind of put a little bit of caution and awareness going into the 2021 season. And I think that's part of the situation with what is happening with the third annual SimCraft 24 Hours race. As you said, moving to the Bayou, and is going to be held at the NOLA Motorsports facility in Avondale, Louisiana, held on November 11th through the 14th, 2021. So this actually situates itself between what will probably likely be the Rock the Rio event in Las Vegas and then the Super Nationals in Las Vegas. So essentially, you could possibly have 3 full weeks of racing with a 24-hour in the middle of it. Which offers a unique opportunity for some people to be able to do the trio.
You mean like you and I?
Yeah, it could be for us or race teams or just drivers
Racers.
Who are very interested in this type of event because as we've seen, endurance racing has been popular in the past with the Robopong 200 at Newcastle Motorsports Park. That was focused on tag racing and getting the quickest in 200 laps. This is a complete different monster, being 24 hours alone. But the fact that you're on the near bulletproof Briggs and Stratton power plant going for 24 hours. So it really puts an emphasis on just driver and machine being able to outlast one another.
For those that don't know much about the SimCraft 24-hour event, as David said, it's a 24-hour race around the clock. Briggs and Stratton power plants. We'll have more information on the program coming in. You bring your own chassis. I know in the 2 years earlier, this is the third edition of the event. The first two were held at Orlando Karting Center. They were providing the engine. It's to certain packages. You could bring your own engine, but they had actual carts you could bring in as well. There was a lot of stuff that was involved, and we'll bring you a lot more information on exactly how they're going to approach the event here in 2021. Registration does open for returning teams at the start of the year, January the 1st. New team registration will open shortly thereafter. But it was an event that TJ Halsma kind of rolled in with from My Laps. They worked together with the USAC racing crew on it last year. Just a really cool event. And David, the way they approached it with driver support, a lot of the stuff, the cool factor stuff, and we'll get into it more. This is really just announcing the date. But the way TJ was leveraging a lot of the stuff through My Laps to be able to follow certain drivers and everything, that he was using the race really to help My Laps push forward with a lot of their technology.
Yeah, it's a great way for his day job to go with his nighttime gig that he's doing with the promotion of these endurance events. So yeah, that is a really cool, unique aspect of it. Obviously, us not there, we're not able to kind of see in depth as to what's being done with it. But as you said, this was kind of just more of an announcement for setting it in your calendar, get it set, ready to go. And because he's got a lot of feedback, I think he said over 30 teams that previously had been taken part in the first two events that were held in Orlando have already mentioned that they're interested in returning for 2021. So he's got the goal of getting about maybe 50 teams ready for this year's event. And with NOLA Motorsports Park, you can do that because one, they have that super long pit lane, a large paddock. We've been there for the Winter Nationals and the Rotax Grand Finals in 2013. So we know the facility can hold those amount of numbers. So it'll be exciting to see. And as you said, there'll be more information regarding this event over the next probably 3 to 4 months, just getting the information ready and out there for those who are interested in partaking.
Yeah, I think it's going to be big. It's kind of picked up momentum since the very first one that TJ organized and put on. I would expect if they can get 50, man, that's going to be a massive event. Again, the concept, those of you who may know about the Granja 500 event down in Brazil, that's kind of the feel of it, was the fact that let's try to get one really big 24-hour event that everybody can come out and play with. And I think that I think the momentum is going to keep rolling. And as you said, right between the Rock the Rio, the prospected Rock the Rio date and the SCUSA Super Nationals date, that could help. It could hinder. It may pull some drivers away or some teams away. We'll see. But I think there's a lot of people, because of the Briggs and Stratton connection, it really draws as well from grassroots racing, not just the teams, maybe even more from grassroots than the teams at the top level. David, staying with Briggs and Stratton, I know that you did a lot of work with the guys over at Briggs on this. The 2020 Briggs and Stratton Weekly Racing Series, powered by RLV Champions, were confirmed. Over 2,400 registered drivers from 37 participating tracks across North America. The Briggs and Stratton Weekly Racing Series, a really cool program. Over $58,000 worth of prizes rolled out. Tell us a little more about the work you did with the guys over at Briggs to get this thing wrapped up.
Yeah, just a bit lower than what we've seen in years past, but I think a lot of it had to do with the COVID-19 situation. Where again, tracks weren't able to register because they weren't quite open yet, so that was part of the issue. So it was kind of it was a positive year for it, but when you look at overall numbers, it wasn't what they were anticipating prior to the COVID-19. So we could see numbers even double next year, depending on how the program shakes out, because they have confirmed that they're still going to continue on with the Briggs and Stratton Weekly Racing Series program in 2021. So that's exciting. But as you mentioned, over 58,000 in prizes handed out this year. Essentially, assorted number of prizes from the first place all the way down to 100th place in all three categories. And when we talk about categories, we talk about senior masters in USA. We have senior masters in Canada. And then we have the junior that combines both the United States and Canada. So all of North America took part in this program. And again, it's track based. It's about, your regular racers who compete week in and week out at their club racetrack with Briggs and Stratton power, following the Briggs and Stratton rule set. So that's the key element to what this program has been doing over the past, I think, 5 years now that's been going on with the program. The big prize, though, however, for the three different champions, the VLR chassis was handed out to all three champions for 2020. So this year was a first for that situation, where the drivers who scored the most points in the 2020 season all received a brand new chassis from VLR.
And continuing on down, second and third place, a winch lift LT from Cartlift. They were part of it. And then fourth and fifth in the points, a Briggs PowerSmart P3000 inverter generator. So a lot of stuff going on. And David, as you said, assorted prizes from position 6 all the way back to 100th. Let's have a look. Give us the three champions.
Well, ironically, both in the U.S. and Canada, master drivers took home the number one prize. You have Doug Cook of the G&J Cartway in Camden, Ohio. He was able to score the most points in the USA bracket, with Eli Yanko of the Motorsport Karting Center in Clareton, Ontario, near your neck of the woods. He was number one in the Canada standings for senior and masters. So the old guy is taking the number one positions in 2020. So again, based on the number of karts that are in your field, based on the amount of points you earn each race, based on, I think they believe they have passing points as well too. So a lot of number of different factors into how much points you got per race that you had at your club. And then rounding out the champions, G&J Cartway is earning 2 champions in 2020, with Cash Wyke taking the number 1 spot in the junior ranks.
So again, a big year for Briggs and Stratton, even with the COVID-19 shutdown and a lot of less racers, less tracks, whatever that could have been involved in this program. Still a fantastic, just a really great support package for all the Briggs 206 racing that happens around North America. If your track is not involved, your responsibility, get on the phone, get with your board of directors and say, hey, listen, we want to be involved in this program because we want to have a shot at winning some of these prizes. So hopefully we'll see it grow. Hopefully, as I think we all know, we're waiting for this craziness of COVID-19 to kind of get behind us a little bit. We still have some time before most of the club racing gets rolling again. So ideally in 2021, we'll see this program grow exponentially. All right, into our first commercial break on this edition of This Week in Karting. Again, episode number 28. Today's broadcast brought to you by AMAX Racing. Quick break in the action. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about a couple of more regional-based programs, one coming back in 2021 and one expanding out, not just into the north area, but down into the south as well. Stay tuned. More to come here on the EKN Radio Network. Acceleration Kart Racing is your first and only stop on the internet for karts, parts, and safety gear to get you on the track. ShopAKRA.com offers a great selection of karting equipment on a user-friendly website. Acceleration Kart Racing has aligned itself with many of the top manufacturers and distributors in the sport to ensure that all the latest equipment is available to you, the consumer. With customer support available 6 days a week, you can be confident about getting the right parts at the right price. Be sure to visit shopakr.com today or stop by their headquarters in Las Vegas. Also, follow them on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest specials, clearance items, and new products. There's simply nothing like entering the tunnel at the Daytona International Speedway, and Margay Racing is proud to provide a unique opportunity for Ignite racers in December. This year's Daytona Kart Week, hosted by the World Karting Association, opens the door for this chance, and Margay is offering up a 3-2-1 prospect. 3 days of racing, 2 different tracks, all with 1 kart and 1 set of tires. The Dash at Daytona is providing Ignite drivers in Senior, Masters, and Junior with the opportunity to race at both the 24-hour Roval course with the WKA Road Racing Series and the traditional sprint track for the WKA Manufacturers Cup Series program. Ignite Karting is a spec package that includes the Margay Racing chassis mated with the Briggs & Stratton 206 engine package and the Hoosier R80 tire. It's all made in the USA. Everyone in the junior, senior, and master's classes utilize the same Ignite K3 package, which puts the emphasis squarely on the driver. This unique and historic Florida event kicks off the 2021 Ignite Majors schedule. Learn more about the exact details for the Dash at Daytona, along with Ignite Kart packages and arrive and drive opportunities at ignitekarting.com. Get off the couch and get on the track this year. Ignite Karting. Fuel your passion. Welcome back to episode number 28 of This Week in Karting here on the EKN Radio Network. Rob Howden alongside David Cole. David, we talked a lot about Briggs. We're going to stay with Briggs for this next segment and cap off the end of the run as we talk about some Briggs and some Miami as well. David, let's roll out what's going on with the Cup Karts North America program, because they've come up with a bunch of different announcements here over the last month. Number one, establishing a new South division of their Champions Cup.
Yeah, essentially the Champions Cup now is going to be 2 divisions. They announced a South division, which is going to be Florida-based, primarily because all the facilities are going to be in the state of Florida. Again, a big area to cover when you talk about the Sunshine State, I believe it's called.
Yeah, it is.
There he is. I couldn't remember. I was thinking California was named that, but yeah, so this new South program is something they've talked about for years. They thought about doing it a couple years back, but I think pulled back a little bit and held off. But I think now they believe they have the momentum and the numbers to support a new division in the state of Florida. Begins all in February as they head to Bushnell Motorsports Park, which is just south or just north. Is it south? No, it's southwest of Orlando. I believe between there and Tampa Bay. April, they head to Ocala, which is northwest of Orlando area, before heading up to 103rd Street Sports Complex in Jacksonville in the month of June, before they head back to Bushnell in the month of August, wrapping up a 4-round program, I believe 4-event program for the South Division now that has been established.
Well, I think what's really cool, obviously, is the good folks at Cup Carts North America, Greg Jasperson, Steve Vermeer, and the crew there have done a really tremendous job with their Champions Cup up in the in the northern states, and of course. They've been able to develop now what is essentially the biggest four-cycle national event we have every year in the Cup Carts North America Grand Nationals. David, you've had a chance to run the last couple of races, they've built on something really big. And you have to know that the phone was ringing saying, hey, listen, we need this brand. It's growing. There's a lot of support. Can we get it down south? And I'm not surprised that sooner or later that was going to happen, and it could expand further out for sure because it's a concept. It's a culture based on what Greg and Steve have put together, and not surprising that more people would want to do it. David, up the tracks up in the north, a bit of a shake up, which I kind of like. A couple different tracks, one particular that's really jumping out at me, but 4 different states for the Champions Cup up in the north. We'll go through the schedule. April 30th to May the 2nd, the first round at Concept Haulers Motor Speedway in Sheridan. Those who've been around in the sport a long time, that's Norway. May 21 to 23, the week before the Indianapolis 500, Whiteland Raceway Park. Fantastic track that they've really done a lot to. Sarah Fisher and her husband, Andy O'Gara, doing so much work on that track, and it really is kind of a jewel now, in addition to Newcastle in the Indianapolis area. July 16th, 17th, 18th, it's opened on my schedule, which makes me very happy. David, U.S. Air Motorsports Park up in Shawnee, Wisconsin, joining the schedule and wrapping up August 13th, 14th, 15th in your neck of the woods. East Lansing Kart Track in Michigan. That's a pretty cool lineup of venues for the 2021 season.
Yeah, a lot of history there, obviously with in four-cycle racing with East Lansing and the Whiteland Raceway Park being a historic track in the state of Indiana. So a lot of history there. Concept Haulers Motor Speedway, a grassroots facility. Again, that's something that they've continued to focus on with the Cup Carts North America Champions Cup program. So they're going to continue that. And then, as you said, Shawnee, Wisconsin. One of the crown jewel racetracks in North America for sure. We were actually just talking about it. We did a happy hour show up there. What'd I say? 14 years ago with Brett Smurs and Mike Vinsek and Paul Zalud at the Stars of Karting, along with, I believe, Jamie Siraki was a guest on that show as well.
Yes,
so
Steve Welk was sitting
Steve
in,
Welk was there. And it's that track. It's a unique facility. CKNA has been there before, so it's not new to the series, but it was missing from last year. But all tracks that are on the 2021 calendar were not on the 2020 schedule. So that's something that they're going to continue to do, I think, moving forward, looking at not going to the same racetracks over and over again, but mixing up the schedule year after year because they have so many racetracks that want to be a part of the program. And I don't think they tried doing it with the East-West kind of thing 2 years ago, and it didn't quite work out. So they're going to continue with this North program and just keep changing the racetracks up.
Yeah, that's what kind of Greg Jasperson told us a couple times, right, David? We were doing our industry insider and face-to-face interviews with him. That a lot of interest from so many tracks that are more, that club level kind of four-cycle oriented racetrack, right? It's a shorter racetrack, a little bit more narrow, plays really well to the CKNA program, especially when they've continued to grow their stature within the sport. So I like the 4 venues. I think it's fantastic. Class structure, one thing to bring in. Kid karts, sportsman, junior, this is all Briggs, senior light, senior medium, senior heavy, masters, and they're bringing in a new Legends class for 2021, 50 years of age and older at 375 pounds. But David, one of the key components of that class structure, and really is a really good lineup, I think, of hitting ages, hitting weights of drivers, whatever it may be, but also they're making that kind of adjustment with the CIK bodywork program. David, talk a little bit about the way they're moving their way to CIK only, slowly but surely.
Well, during the early years of the program, it was always kind of open. Whatever bodywork you had, you came and raced it. And now that we're seeing a lot of, especially the industry, moving away from that Gold Cup style bodywork that covers the front of the tires, is essentially the aerodynamic style looking kart. People are moving away from that, and I believe they had the open category up until the start of this year, where they didn't have the numbers to support it, and so they dropped the category, and it wasn't part of the Grand Nationals that they had at Newcastle Motorsports Park. The numbers just didn't warrant it. So they've seen the trend. Everybody's moved to the CIK bodywork. No, there's no more bitching and whining about bodywork. And so they're starting the South program with all CIK bodywork, all categories, all divisions, CIK bodywork only, no open divisions. They're still going to stick with the open bodywork in the sportsman and junior categories at the North Division. But after the North Division is done, they're moving to strictly CIK bodywork. So that means the Grand Nationals, everybody's going to be on the CIK bodywork. The Spring Nationals, it'll still be sportsman and junior, have the open bodywork. But again, after the month of August is complete, their organization is moving to CIK only bodywork for all categories that they have. So it's the trend. I wrote an article 4 years ago, the Gold Cup versus CIK bodywork, and it looks like CIK bodywork has prevailed. It's just kind of the way everything has moved towards that.
Yeah, Dave, let's industry driven, right? Because let's be real.
More so,
yeah, all the European chassis that come in from Italy, wherever it may be, they have the full CIK bodywork. That's what they run on. And it really probably came down to the domestic manufacturers really embracing it as well. Margate's been on board with it for a long time, but manufacturers like MGM and Coyote and Ionic and the other manufacturers like that getting on board and building carts with the CIK bodywork, that's kind of allowed, I think, probably opened the door more to let it happen.
Yeah, that the industry has certainly helped in moving that way, because you don't have many companies, if any, maybe one or two, producing the Gold Cup style bodywork anymore. So
that's true.
That's part of the issues as well. And let's be honest, it's laziness. Not a lot of people want to deal with putting on a big nose, and so they just don't do it. And so that has a lot to do with it. And there was the argument 4 years ago that, well, it's safer with the bigger bodywork. And I don't think there's any numbers to support that, really, to be honest. And so that's where 4 years ago when I wrote the article, that was my sticking point. I'm like, are you serious about this? You don't have the numbers. You don't have not experience, but
there's no data.
Yeah, there's just nothing there to support that argument. So thankfully, I like it this way, because it eliminates another element of people questioning, well, they have this bodywork and that's why they're faster, and this type of scenario. But my real now bitch about it now, if we're going to be honest, is how is this Legends class at 375 pounds, but Masters is still at 390 pounds?
Well, I assume I love it, but I assume it's an opportunity.
You're over 50 years old.
But so listen, those over 50 now with an opportunity can run that at 375 Masters. At least there's still an opportunity. Somebody could be 55 and heavier and still make weight. You and I both we're not big fans or fans at all, or acceptors of Masters at 390. We both think it's way too heavy.
Even the heavy class. Let's be honest.
But no, listen, you have a senior heavy for guys that are heavy.
But
right?
Are they really that? Are they 250 pounds?
Well, there's got to be, David. There's guys out there that are 250, and that's why you have a senior heavy, right? You have a senior heavy, so you can actually run it at 390.
The numbers don't support it, and I continue to say that. And
listen,
unfortunately, I haven't been able to get the numbers to support my argument. But that is my goal in 2021.
Yeah, I know.
That is my goal to get the numbers.
Well, we have to. They need to have one of their big races, the first time across the scales, weigh the driver, weigh the cart. Let's find out if anybody actually comes in at that weight, because we said it. You and I both, like, I'm weighing in last year fully suited at 210 pounds or whatever I was coming, and I still had 25 or 30 pounds on my cart. There's no need at 210 pounds. There should be zero weight on my go-kart, in my opinion.
And again, and I'm not just bitching about the Briggs weights. I think it's weights across the board in our sport. I really think that we've catered way too much to heavier drivers. And there's kind of has to be a point of, we shouldn't have 100 pounds of weight on a go-kart for a young driver to make weight. I mean, it's just
agreed. Yep.
We really
And
got to, it's a safety aspect that we really need to address before something does happen, because
yeah, it's and
again,
it's the balance between safety and participation,
right.
right? Listen, yes, you're whatever, you're a 13-year-old kid, and you're going to be 20 pounds overweight. Well, listen, you just sorry that sooner or later someone's got to say, well, that's your cross to bear. You have to carry that weight, not the guys that are smaller, and then have to put
Yeah,
a ton of
it's
weight on.
it's just like a
Yep.
tall guy trying to race midget cars.
Yep.
It doesn't work. You got to be a short guy to get it, or build a large custom midget car roll cage to get your head underneath it, so it's safe. But yeah, it's just one of those factors.
So that's why I even if the senior heavy class only had 15 guys in it, if you brought masters back down to 370 or 370 or 375,
375
whatever,
is a great number.
I'd still have weight on. I'd still have a little bit of weight on even at 375 in masters. But then if you have a masters driver who's 45 or 40 whatever, let's say he's 45 years old or 40 years old and he's 250 pounds, he could still go run senior heavy instead and then have the weight, then be on weight. That's the difference, in my opinion, right? If you're going to have senior heavy, that's what you use it for guys that are actually that weight.
Yeah. But I just, yeah. Okay.
Well,
yeah.
we're just like, listen, we're just talking news. Let's keep this for a roundtable. We can pin some guys down and we'll roundtable this one for sure. This sounds like sounds like a really good roundtable for a YouTube live, but not maybe live because I want to have people be able to come in and talk about it. Let's
round. You said round.
I didn't say heavy. I said round.
I know.
Round. Pudgy table. Let's go to the next segment. Let's go from the East Coast to the West Coast, David. The KPX Karting Championship in California has been a really solid program over the last number of years. Really was able to kind of rebuild that grassroots traveling series program using the Briggs & Stratton power plant. They ended up adding the IAME classes based on a lot of the feedback from their racers. But due to COVID-19 last year, David, the entire 2020 program was canceled. That was a big hurt for Northern California karting, a lot of the shops. Nice to hear that they're going to be back in 2021. Let's give us a little rundown of the schedule for the KPX Karting Championship next year.
Yeah, as you said, the COVID-19 pandemic really forced a cancellation of the whole program in the 2020 schedule because they're based in California, Nevada area, Northern California area, and part of Nevada, where it would just, everything was still kind of up in the air when the season was supposed to begin. So they decided to postpone and cancel the schedule for the year. Thankfully, everything's been able to kind of everybody with the KPX program has been able to kind of regroup. They're working with the racetracks once again, and they've solidified the dates for the 2021 program, and includes 7 events for the 2021 program, dating from April to October. So essentially once a month, you get to travel to a different racetrack each month to compete in a championship program that includes both Briggs & Stratton power plants, along with the IAME power plants, and now kid karts as well too for the 2021 program. Everything begins in April 10th through 11th, before going to the month of May. The last weekend in May will be May 29th through 30th, June 12th through the 13th, July 10 through 11, August 21, 22 will be the North versus South event at Buttonwillow Raceway Park. That's kind of the northern drivers coming down to compete against the southern drivers. So it's like kind of their not Grand Nationals, but the big one. If we'll call it.
Good opportunity to draw the guys that run in the Southern California Briggs. I like that.
So, and then they'll wrap things up in the last weekend in September, along with the finale on October 16th through the 17th.
David mentioned the Briggs and IAME categories: Junior 1, Junior 2, Senior, and Masters in the Briggs categories. In IAME, it's KA100 Senior, Masters, Super Masters, and Junior, Mini Swift. And David, you mentioned the Honda Kid Karts being involved as well. What is the weekend schedule? What's the event schedule?
One thing they are looking at doing for 2021 now is doing a different format than what I believe they have done in the past. This year, or 2021, will be a qualifying Saturday evening at the end of practice day. and then providing on Saturday 2 rounds of heat races before a main event. So that is going to be the format for all events in 2021.
Yeah, I really like that approach. I love when you get qualifying at the end of the practice day, because I think that kind of fires things up and really gives you even more of a focus on what you want to do to be fast on that practice day. You're not just banging out laps. You got to set up for qualifying. And then 2 heats in the main event gives you lots of track time. And again, you can see how this particular program is focused on that grassroots racing. It's Briggs, it's KA100, it's the Mini Swift and the Honda Kid Karts as well. So a really good program there for KPX, and look forward to seeing them come back at it again here in 2021. We'll try to get Chris Rossi and the crew there from KPX back on one of our face-to-face shows later this month or potentially into January. All right, folks, second break in the action here on this edition of This Week in Karting, again brought to you by AMAX Racing. When we get back, our next segment, all Rotax. Stay with us. More to come. In karting, it's important to be supported by the right people. With over 40 years of experience in the sport, Trinity Karting Group has everything you need to make your program successful. We do it all, and we do it right. Trackside support and arrive and drive programs at many of karting's biggest East Coast events, full product sales and service, and professional coaching from our experienced staff. Trinity Karting Group is a full-service operation based at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati, which gives us access to our custom-designed driver training facility. This allows us to offer private one-on-one coaching to take you to the next level. We're also your Midwest home for Tony Kart and IAME, and we're your source for MG and Iveco tires in the region. Tony Kart quality cannot be beat, so call us today to put you in a new chassis for your next event. In 2020, we'll be racing and providing arrive and drive programs for the full SuperKarts USA Pro Tour and the Great Lakes Pro Kart Challenge, the WK's Kart Week in Daytona, and exciting events like the USAC Battle at the Brickyard and the Rock Island Grand Prix. From arrive and drive and coaching programs to the parts you need, let Trinity Karting Group provide you with customer service and a racing experience second to none. Trinity Karting Group has a long history in the sport, a winning pedigree, and we're dedicated to driver development. We take pride in our professional approach and our positive attitude. Let us build a custom race program for you. Give us a call at 513-421-4463 or check us out online at trinitykartinggroup.com. The Briggs & Stratton 206 engine is where out-of-the-box ease and outstanding consistency meet to create legendary races. Briggs & Stratton's history in motorsports dates back to when the first engines came off the assembly line in the early 1900s. Their focus on the grassroots level continues to help build generations of racers. Since 2008, the Briggs & Stratton 206 has gained a following that has the engine powering the largest fields in North American karting today. From the club level and track programs to traveling regional series and national events, Briggs & Stratton competition provides the most exciting racing in the sport. Engineered and hand-built exclusively for racing, every Briggs 206 engine is power tested and serialized before it goes in the box. Karters can take that engine straight from the box to their kart and be on the podium at the end of the race day. To learn more about the 206 engine and to find a North American dealer near you, head to briggsracing.com. Briggs & Stratton Racing. What powers you? Welcome back to episode 28 of This Week in Karting. It's December the 2nd, 2020, into the 12th month of the year of what has been probably the most surreal year for any of us in the sport in the last 25 years or more. Thankfully, though, able to get a lot of racing in, and with most of the people we talk to in the industry, they're actually really strong season. And we say thank you to those of you who supported the kart shops from coast to coast. It was big to make sure that our industry stayed strong through what has been a very trying time. Rotax, one of the programs, David, we're seeing come back, and I want to say in a big way, but I want to say in a focused and determined way, because the folks over at J3 Competition have really done a good job in looking at getting this Rotax program rolling again. Because at one point, not so long ago, David, it was really probably the biggest program from coast to coast. Club racing, regional racing, a Grand Nationals, part of the Florida Winter Tour. Rotax was it for many, many years. It died away. The J3 guys are bringing it back. as well as the guys from RTX as well. So let's talk a little bit about the news that has hit the EKN homepage regarding Rotax.
I was to say something that came out today: the race Rotax branding between J3 Competition and RTX are now combining together to focus the Rotax brand under one banner, which is the race Rotax brand. So that'll be something we continue to follow throughout the 2021 season. And as you said, it's going to be again the focus of reestablishing, I think, that base, that core group of Rotax racers that built up the program so many years ago when tag racing was first implemented with the Rotax engine power plant. So that's something that we'll continue to watch and continue to follow. But Rotax racing is not done for the 2021 season, not yet. Essentially, next weekend will be a chance to be part of the Rotax Grand Finals in Portugal next month, with the Rotax All Stars Finals set for December 11th through the 13th at the Orlando Kart Center in Orlando, Florida. A total of 6 tickets available from the event for the Rotax Grand Finals. So drivers still have an opportunity to represent their country at what is the Olympics of karting in Portugal. Mini Max and Junior Max are going to be a part of the program, and they are going to have unique engine raffles. So very similar to what you'll get at the Rotax Grand Finals, where you get there, you have your kart though, but it's an engine raffle. So you'll be given an engine to compete in those 2 categories. All the other categories will be competitors providing their own equipment to compete. Senior Max, however, will have 2 tickets available. So first and second at the event will earn tickets to the Rotax Grand Finals. Winners in Masters, Junior, Mini, and Micro will all be able to earn a ticket to Portugal next month. Event begins on Friday, December 11th, with official practice day. Will be followed up throughout the next 2 days with qualifying, 3 rounds of heat races, a pre-final and final over Saturday and Sunday.
We'll stick with the Rotax brand here as we discuss more news that came out on the EKN homepage. David, the Rotax Trophy East Series has been established. They gave us kind of a 2021 outline on what will be first of 3 series that will be confirmed for 2021. But that Rotax Trophy East program building off, it was a really kind of a successful program of the 3 events they had in the Northeast here in 2020.
Again, yeah, their focus again is at the grassroots, the regional level, and the Trophy East Series did a phenomenal job in 2020 with 3 solid events at 3 pretty good club programs, including OVRP, United Karting, and I believe the Lafayette Motorsports Park as well too. So the program now is moving to 4 events for the 2021 season. OVRP is going to open up things on May 7th through the 9th with the United Karting facility in Baltimore on June 9th through 11th. The final 2 events locations are yet to be determined, but the dates are confirmed. June 25th through the 27th, along with July 16th through the 17th. So a solid 4 months of Rotax, or 3 months of Rotax racing for 4 events, all battling for what will be confirmed later. But we're going to assume they've already said Rotax Grand Final tickets for 2021 will be up for grabs throughout the series.
And the thing, David, with the Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals tickets, you got to get that's why the season finishes a bit earlier, right? Because you got to get that done. You want to get these guys done, find out who's going to get the tickets, then all the work that needs to be done, of course, then to be able to go wherever it's going to be when we're talking about the 2022 race. Or I guess it'll be the second 2021 race, because the 2020 race next week, next month, as you had said, in Portugal, we'll see when the 2021 race ends up. I got a question for you, Dave. A little trivia. I want to see if you got this. I think I'm right on this. You mentioned Rotax being part of the kind of the debut of tag when the first tag program came over here with Tom Argy and rolled in. Do you remember who the first winner of the Rock Island Grand Prix was on a Rotax?
Was it? It had to have been 2004, my first year there. If we're doing that year, I believe the driver's name was Jim Cassie.
You got it. Winner, chicken dinner. Good for you.
Yeah, that was my first Rock Island Grand Prix.
Well, good for you, Jim Cassie. Yeah, on a Burrell, I think it was too. That's dude, that's solid.
Yeah, because in 2 years after that, I would think in 2006 was when Martin Pierce came over on the wild cart
That's
and
it.
dominated everybody on the Rotax engine there. So
That's exactly right. But Jim went, and the tag was a smaller class. That remember it was, I think maybe there was only 15 carts or something like that because it was so brand new.
well, I think
And whatever,
I think Rotax had its own class a couple years before that, before it opened up to just tag.
I don't know about
Because
that.
Jordan
I don't know.
Musser and Chris Jennings, I believe, one of the first years they went up there was in the Rotax only category.
Well, let's be real.
You're old. You
Jordan,
can't remember.
I'm old. I'm just saying. Jordan Musser was the king of Rotax at that point.
Yes,
He
correct.
win, 3 or 4 straight championships. Man, he was a badass. You're right, and you may be right. There might have been a standalone. I'll have to go look at that. I'll go back and look at some of the results for sure. All right, another break in the action here. When we come back, we've got we're going to talk Rock Cup USA. We're going to talk FIA Karting World Championships, and we're going to wrap that next segment up with a little information, little news from the World Karting Association. Lots more to come on this edition of This Week in Karting. Leading Edge Motorsports is the industry answer to winning in karting. At the helm is industry veteran Greg Bell, who has orchestrated the success of many drivers dating back to the mid-1990s. Most recently, Leading Edge Motorsports and Greg Bell helped guide Danny Formel to victory at both the Rock the Rio and the Superkarts USA Super Nationals 23. Based in Lodi, California, Leading Edge Motorsports is the Western importer for IP karting, which includes the Praga and Formula K chassis brands. Leading Edge Motorsports is already looking forward to the 2021 season, which begins with the Challenge of the Americas, the premier winter series on the West Coast under the Rock Cup USA banner. Leading Edge Motorsports is also eyeing the Florida Winter Tour and several other programs. Arrive and drive services to kart preparation and driver coaching are all available under the LEM tent throughout 2021. Greg Bell has been building racing engines for over 20 years, and he's excited with the continuing growth of his new Mega Power race motor building program. It doesn't matter what color your chassis is, choose Mega Power to get to the front. For more information, click over to leadingedgemotorsports.com and find them on Facebook. At Leading Edge Motorsports, winning never gets old. Cometic Gasket is a leading worldwide supplier of gaskets and engine sealing solutions for karting, automotive performance, power sports, original equipment, and the remanufactured engine industries. Cometic karting gaskets are available as OE replacement top-end kits or as individual gaskets and seals. Just like competitive karters, Cometic can operate on the fly and has the unique capability to customize any gasket to meet specific engine requirements and clearances. All of Cometic's fiber materials are asbestos-free and do not require any additional sealants. Viton oil ring cylinder head seals are used in each 2-cycle kit, and Cometic's 4-cycle engine kits feature only the most advanced multi-layer steel head gaskets. Cometic can tailor to engine builder specific needs through bulk ordering and packaging flexibility. Cometic gaskets are must-haves for championship winning teams across multiple disciplines of both professional and amateur motorsports. Cometic gasket, sealing championships since 1989. Welcome back to this edition of This Week in Karting, episode number 28. If you're driving to work right now or driving home, keep your eye on the road. Keep your ears open. Lots of great information coming here from David Cole, myself, Rob Howden. David, Rock Cup USA, of course, coming off the Rock the Rio event in late October, which was obviously big for a lot of the teams in the sport to be able to get that race put together. Pretty amazing. I'm actually working on an interview, a one-on-one interview right now with Garrett Potter to talk about the program, the Rock the Rio, and of course, their plans for 2021. But some pretty major news coming out of Rock Cup Global first. On November 16th, just a couple of weeks ago, Rock Cup announcing a new tire. We had heard that Bridgestone was kind of shutting down their kart tire program. Those heavily invested or at least locked into the Bridgestone program are like, hey, we got to make some moves. Rock Cup Global making the move to a LeConte brand or to the LeConte tire program with a newly branded Levanto tire, the Levanto KRT. So they got their own brand on the tire coming from LeConte. And then the next day, Rock Cup USA confirming their switch to Levanto as well.
Yeah, it's exciting news because of the fact that Bridgestone tires, that has been primarily used for the Rock Cup program, is discontinuing by the end of, I believe it was the 2021 season. So by 2022, anybody using Bridgestone tires was going to have to be on something new. Well, Rock Cup and Vortex has stepped up to the plate early and decided to release this new tire for the 2021 season. As you said, Rock Cup Global announcing the new tire and new compound for the 2021 season, and then Rock Cup USA confirming the switch for the upcoming 2021 season. And that includes programs that we're going to be interested in during the winter months, Challenging the Americas, along with Florida Winter Tour.
And we talked about that with Andy Saisman during our primetime happy hour with Howden show that we did just last week, David, the fact that Challenging the Americas moving to the new Levanto tire. And, you discussed it with him about the fact that the sizes are pretty much locked in and the same compound as well for all the tires, all the categories. Mike, we're all the way to shifter card, the same compound.
Yeah, that's something that was different with the Bridgestone tire, obviously, because you had the harder tire for the 100cc categories, along with micro and mini, and then the softer tire for the other categories and shifter divisions as well too. So now from across the board, from micro all the way up to shifter, it'll all be the same compound, but obviously different sizes for depending on the different categories. So that's something that's going to be new and something we're not very used to seeing that. I think in the past, maybe the tire compounds were the same across the board. But over the last decade, I would say it's always kind of been a little bit harder for the slower categories and a little bit softer for the faster categories.
Makes sense to me. Yeah, we'll see what happens. And Andy said that too, right? He said once we get it on the racetrack, we're going to be able to do a lot of testing and a lot of kind of market understanding and market.
Again, data. Surveying. They'll have the data to support a change or to stick with what they have. So, but one thing they will be sticking with is Bridgestone rain tires. So that is still going to be with Rock Cup USA. That's still going to be the tire utilized for wet conditions.
David, during the commercial, you went back and looked at your spreadsheet, didn't you?
I did.
What? Give me, you dick. All right, give me the Rock Island Grand Prix Rotax update. Was a Rotax?
There was a Rotax senior only category from 2000 to 2002. You'll never guess who was the inaugural winner. You'll never guess this. And I'll give you a hint though. He's won at Rock Island multiple times.
In Rotax
senior in 2000.
Rotax senior.
Quit trying to Google it.
I'm not. You know what? I'll just throw something like a guy like Dan Rowe or somebody like that.
No, but it is shifter related.
It's shifter related.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay.
Because Dan Rowe did win in shifters, but not in a Rotax.
I know he did. I'm literally just looking out the window right now, trying to see if something comes to my head. I don't know. Tell me. I'm excited.
Kyle Wiegand. It was his first win at the Rock Island. Dan Rowe actually won that year in 80 shifter.
80 shifter, yeah.
But so Rotax winners in the Rotax senior only category: Kyle Wiegand, Tim Lobaugh, who was the inaugural winner at the Rotax Grand Nationals, I believe.
He was, yeah.
And then Jordan Musser winning in 2002.
So that was 2000, 2001, 2002.
Yep.
Damn.
And then Tag Senior opened up to 2003 and you should know who won 2003.
It's all blended together.
Fellow Canadian.
A fellow Canadian.
Yes.
1 and 2. Who came down in 2003 to win?
It could have been a Rotax, or could have been something different because I wasn't there in 2003.
Oh, all right. I don't know. Let's do it. I honestly don't know.
Well, we drink it on New Year's Eve.
Matt
Champagne.
Oh, Matt Champagne. Good for you, dude. I like the references though.
Well, I see that. I know who Matt Champagne is, but I don't think I've really gotten to know him. But he did.
Oh my
He
god,
won
yeah.
tags the inaugural tag senior. So I'm not sure what engine package he was on that event. So
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to tell you right
maybe,
now. I know. Well, listen, I covered Matt's racing from when I started because he was a WK oval pavement oval guy for a long time. His dad Andre owned Hurricane Racing, which became the MBA importer for many years. He ended up being a super pro driver in the Supercars USA Pro Tour. Matt was a very very talented young driver for sure, and just didn't. I think he tried to make the move to cars briefly, but again, like everybody else, kind of run out of money at one point.
We'll have to Facebook message him to what he was racing in 2003 at Rock.
I will. We'll go back and look at that for sure. Or I'll pull out an issue of Shifter Card Illustrated magazine. It might be in there. It might not though. We might have been just covering the shifters at that point. We hadn't made the move to supercarts.
Right. That was 2004 when we had Jim Cassie winning on the road tax.
Yeah. There, on the cover.
Now we've gone full circle.
That's it. Boom. Back to the next one. Let's go to Europe. David, obviously one of the things that we were able to watch was FIA Karting was able to get their World Championships in the books in Portugal. And a couple of drivers winning the championships in the OK and OK Junior class that we've seen run over here on the Supercars USA Pro Tour, which I thought was pretty cool to see as well. Talk about the two winners at the World Championships.
Yeah, it was a very interesting World Championship for 2020. We'll just kind of quick go over what happened because originally it was scheduled for Brazil, and then COVID-19 hit.
Indeed.
They had to reschedule it. They moved it to Portimao, Portugal, where we were at. And we actually left 8 years ago there for the Rotax Grand Finals on today. So
we did.
We talked about that a little bit ago.
Are you feeling better yet?
I don't think I've recovered from that weekend. That's all thanks to Kevin Ads and Andy Saisman. So
100%.
But we did come up with my memoir title, so that's great.
We did most definitely. All right,
so the event moved to that location, and I believe it was a weekend later than what it was originally scheduled for. So because it actually was on the same weekend now as the Rock the Rio weekend, so we were kind of watching both events throughout the weekend. It made for a busy weekend of watching karting. So Portimao, Portugal, kind of an ocean town right on the coast there, and brought a lot of rain on Sunday. That was kind of in the forecast throughout the weekend. We talked to Connor Zillage prior to the event. They knew rain was probably going to be there, and it did for the main event. So provided some interesting scenarios for the World Championships to occur. In the OK division, red flag on the opening circuit involving Italian Andrea Kimi Antonelli, who was the double Scusa Winter Series champion. So red flag came out for him, and I believe it was a broken leg that he suffered during the incident. So we do wish him well in his recovery. But essentially the main event, Colin Bradshaw took over the lead right from the start and dominated after the restart to claim his first world title with Tony Kart.
Talk a little bit of the U.S. contingent running in the OK class as well.
So in the OK category, I got it mixed up. In the OK category, we had two USA drivers. We had Arezou Medjian racing with Kart Republic, and Cole Morgan racing with, I believe, was the Ricky Flynn. No, Ward Racing was with
Ward Racing. I think I was going to say. I think it was with Ward Racing.
So neither were able to qualify for the main event. Medjian actually was one of the quick drivers throughout the weekend. Just didn't quite get the luck through the heat races. Was a top 15 finisher the weekend before at the Champions of the Future event. Just wasn't able to translate it during the World Championship weekend, but certainly a great performance by him overall. And again, Cole Morgan was there just taking in the experience and getting used to what I believe will be a season of racing over in Europe for 2021. Moving over to go ahead.
Yeah, Dave, I was just going to mention the fact that you talked about Callum Bradshaw. Good for him winning the championship there, the World Championship in OK. But again, the cool factor is Freddie Slater. So both these guys, Slater in the OK Junior category, won the SCUSA Pro Tour Championship back in 2019. But we had a chance to have Callum Bradshaw over here for quite a bit as well when he ran for CRG Nordam, the CRG factory team. So a couple of drivers that we've really got a chance to watch race a ton, able to get some big success. So I'll let you move into OK Junior.
Yeah, it's really cool to kind of know who these drivers were,
Yeah,
because normally we never see many of the European drivers or world drivers coming over to the United States to compete. But ironically, both of these drivers raced at the SCUSA Pro Tour, both I think in at least for sure 2019 was Slater, and I believe it was 2018 that we saw Bradshaw coming over and
yeah,
racing with CRG Nordam all throughout the season. But OK Junior, yeah, it was kind of one of the wild finishes that you could see in a karting event. Slater jumped out to a pretty solid lead, but was run down by Arvid Lindbald. Both drivers from the Great Britain area, so we know how they love to race in the rain up there. Uh, Amazing last lap with Arvid able to close in, and the two kind of went back and forth, corner after corner, slamming
yeah.
side pods through the last corner, and ended up being a photo finish. 75 thousandths of a second decided by the victory, with Slater scoring the world championship.
Yeah, pretty cool. I remember us being up on our tower at Utah with the Slater family was up there watching both Freddie and Alfie. That was really cool. So good for the Slater family and good for Freddie for getting that world championship. And it'll just be something that I think will springboard him into the 2021 season. David, it's 3 Americans racing in the OK Junior class as well.
Correct. We had the European champion with Ugo Uchukwu, and the FIA Academy champion with Connor Zillage, both drivers making the main event, both having different experiences throughout the heat races. Zillage, excuse me, making his way up through after a challenge in qualifying to be able to make the main event. Ended up finishing 27th. Was involved in an opening corner wreck, as me and you know from the racetrack. It's a very fast first corner, and in the wet conditions prompted a pretty massive wreck from midway point of the field all the way back. Ugo was not quite quick as he normally is in the wet. Ended up finishing 8th. Just was never really in the hunt once the green flag waved. So kind of an uncharacteristic performance in the main event, but still an 8th place performance by him. And we'll see what the 2021 season provides for him.
David, let's wrap up this segment of This Week in Karting talking about the WKA, World Karting Association, a realignment of the districts. The WK trustees, of which you were one at one point, voted to realign the districts. You've obviously spent a lot of time in that office with the trustees and the board of directors meetings. Give us a scoop on what the World Karting Association has done for 2021.
It was only 3 years, Rob. It was not a lifetime, but it felt like a lifetime. No, just kidding. It's so essentially what it is the World Karting Association, which was founded in the early 70s, essentially had established districts to help filled out the board of trustees and help make decisions on what happens with the member owned organization. And as far back as I can recall, I believe it started with 10, but I'd have to go back and look at some of the books. But as far as I recall from over the last 20 years, it's been 10 districts that have been deciding how the United States is broken up. And now the trustees that are currently there decided to kind of reconsolidate it and make it 8 trustees and 8 districts that will kind of make the decisions and kind of guide the organization for the future. Essentially, what it did was combined District 1 and District 10 into one district, along with District 8 and District 9 combined into its own district, along with shuffling of a few of the states moving from one district to another, including Michigan, which is now bunched in with Wisconsin and Illinois, where previously we were with Ohio. So a little bit of shakeup in the way the districts are kind of mapped out. I think the only thing that stayed the same was, I think, the Carolina. I think that was the only one that was unchanged and stayed the same. But either way, it'll be interesting to see how organization moves forward with just 8 trustees now. I think that was one of the main issues, was not being able to get enough people to be a trustee. That's something when I was there, let's see, I think it's been now almost 3 years now. it was trying to get people to volunteer because, again, the trustee is a volunteership. You don't get paid. You do get paid for some travel expenses and this and that, but or reimbursed. Yeah, it's a volunteer program still, aside from some of the paid employees that work for the organization. So I like the move because it then there's less emphasis on trying to find more volunteers, because we were always, I think, one or two short when I was even in office a couple of years ago. So.
Well, yeah. Again, it's the shift of the sport, right? A lot of people, even corner workers, whatever it may be, it's a paid position. A lot of them are now, and it's always hard to get somebody who is a volunteer and maybe not involved in the industry side too. That's one of the things it's kind of good to get someone who's not a shop owner or whatever as part of it. But the bottom line is WK making a move to kind of realign things, pressing the reset button, and hopefully that will provide them with what they're looking for in 2021. One more break in the action, folks. We're going to cap things off. When David and I get back, we're just going to kind of roll through as we always do. We'll fill you in on the editorial that has been on the website for the last month. We'll talk about the podcasts that are now available, what we've had on the EKN Radio Network, and we'll fill you in on what's coming up in the next month here on ekartingnews.com. Stay with us. We will cap it all off after this break. If the dream is IndyCar, set your target on the Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires. Our ladder system is designed to take drivers through 3 rungs of competition. The first step is the Cooper Tires USF 2000 Championship, which features a carbon tub Tatis chassis, 180 horsepower, and a paddle shift sequential gearbox. Boost the USF 2000's output to 280 horsepower for the Indy Pro 2000 program, the second rung on the road to Indy. Add in increased grip and aero downforce, and the Tatis PM18 becomes an incredible training machine. The final step before IndyCar is the Indy Lights Championship presented by Cooper Tires. The Dallara IL-15 boasts a whopping 450 horsepower. This car itself has helped train a third of the grid expected for the 2020 IndyCar Series. At all 3 levels, you race at premier venues on the same dance card as IndyCar. Showcase your skills under the watchful eyes of IndyCar scouts and owners. Former Carters fill the roster of Road to Indy graduates in IndyCar, like Joseph Newgarden, Pato O'Ward, Connor Daly, Zach Beach, Jack Harvey, Felix Rosenquist, Colton Herta, Charlie Kimball, Renus VK, and 2019 Indy Lights champion Oliver Askew. Racing karting graduates like Kyle Kirkwood and Braden Eaves are in the middle of their journeys right now as well. Follow in their footsteps. If you want to race IndyCar, there is only one choice: the Road to Indy, presented by Cooper Tires. Experience and passion. That's what led to the launch of AMAX Racing. Owner Charles Maxwell began AMAX Racing in 2015, expanding the operation in 2019 with a focus on driver development for drivers of all age groups and backgrounds. From top-level drivers to grassroots racers or families looking for a team that will help them achieve their goals, AMAX Racing can guide you with the absolute best trackside service at affordable prices. No matter the chassis, AMAX Racing welcomes you and has the experience to put you on the top of the podium. You can join the AMAX Racing family at the WK Manufacturers Cup Series, Route 66 Sprint Series, and local events around the Indianapolis area. The operation is also set to compete at the Rock the Rio and SCUSA Super Nationals later this season. For more information, contact them at 317-437-5886 or find them on Facebook. AMAX Racing, all of your karting needs under 110. Welcome back to the EKN Radio Network, episode number 28 of This Week in Karting. It's December the 2nd. Big thank you to AMAX Racing for being our presenting sponsor of this particular podcast. David, cranking out a ton of editorial. That's one of the things we do with eKarting News, not only video-wise, audio-wise here on the podcast, but just a lot of written stuff as well. We had race reports, we had columns, we had product spotlights, we had industry insiders. You pulled out a way back Wednesday as well. We just had a lot of stuff that we rolled out editorially.
Yes, we did. We again, that's been our kind of focus since March is making sure we keep our editorial schedule busy and full, and we continue to do that. We kind of introduced a little bit to the karting community Amax Racing with our industry insider. That was one of the content that we put out over the last month. Great to get to know the Maxwell family that is behind the Amax Racing out of Indianapolis. A unique and unique story and program that they're doing. They're focused mainly on anybody who wants to be part of their family. Essentially, is what it boils down to. No matter the chassis brand that you're on, no matter your experience, it's they're there to help continue to promote, or not promote, but progress you as a driver. And it's really focused on driver development, not making sure you're on this brand of chassis or going to these races, but more on just developing drivers however they want to be developed. And it's
They got
kind of
a big crew going to the opening round of the WK program at Daytona Kart Week as well. We talked about Daytona, about WK and their change of the districts. Obviously, they're getting things really rolling in December, starting off the 2021 season. Man Cup, road race, dirt oval events, all at Daytona International Speedway. And I think it's 18 different drivers joining Amax down there. I actually wrote a morning coffee column. It's been a while since I've been able to pen one of those, but with the cancellation of the SuperKart USA Super Nationals and us coming through November to the end, I was able to put together a quick little column, just how I was feeling about having a November without Christmas, as I said, because I love the Super Nationals so much. David, you also put together a product spotlight for Precision Karting Technologies, one of our great EKN partners, talking about their Briggs 206 motor mount.
Yeah, a new product that they've developed, and I actually got the honor of racing with one in October with LSR Motorsports on their CRG at the Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals. So got to experience the product firsthand, and PKT does an amazing job with all the products they produce, and this is just like all the rest of them with different unique aspects to the motor mount, providing ample cooling system, along with the ability to promote ability to mount the engine on any different type of chassis that you may have. So again, another unique and quality product produced by PKT.
You pulled out a way back Wednesday as well, and maybe you feel a little bit old, which was fine. 1998's FMK FIA North American Karting Championships in that show, where you talk about 22 years ago at Charlotte Motor Speedway. It was the 22nd anniversary of Gianluca Baggio winning the Formula C World Championship, his fourth straight, and it was running for Burrell that weekend. It was actually part of, I want to say, the very first issue of Shifter Kart Illustrated. I think we had the coverage.
Correct.
In that particular, it might have been issue 2. Actually.
No,
it
was in
issue 1?
Whatever had Elliott on the cover.
That was issue 2.
Okay, sorry.
That was issue 2. I think. Yeah. Because Michael Valiente was cover 1, so issue number 2, and I remember being there for that. I actually have a picture I haven't posted yet, which I thought was hilarious, and I'm going to put it up. It's Baggio actually on the payphone calling back to Italy to tell people that he's won.
Yes,
because of course no social media, no cell phones. Nope. He had to do a collect call or something, probably on the phone inside the garage area at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
If a payphone doesn't make you feel old, I was my second year at Western Michigan University, so that's how long ago it was.
Good for you. I was 30 years old, just started my own magazine. That's good stuff. Phil Giebler actually was a double winner in the Formula A category, David. And if you look at the results from that race, I know you pulled a lot of those out. Man, there was some pretty impressive guys in that field.
Yeah, if you go to our results section of the website, you can see the magazine PDFs that we put up for World Karting magazine, along with Shifter Kart Illustrated at that time as well too. But then you can see also the results of all the events and see some of the names that were there. Some guy named Fernando Alonso was in the field. Never heard of him. And many others that were there as well too. So Matt Jaskell in the JICA category, a number of different names that were there.
Even though we weren't at the track for these particular events, folks, we had 3 race reports up on the website as well. You can go back and check out on eKarting News, the FIA Karting World Championships, the Rock the Rio event, and the IKF International Kart Federation Sprint Grand Nationals were able to go in the books, and that was a solid event on the West Coast as well. All those race reports up on the website. David, let's jump into kind of a review of our EKN podcast. These are the podcasts that have been obviously everything we put on eKarting News in the EKN Radio Network first. Then we turn stuff into podcasts. They're available on EKN on the page, ekartingnews.com/podcast, or through iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, or Podbean. You can subscribe to any of those podcasts. If you do, please give us a review on that platform. But David, you were able to crank out a couple of podcasts to get up there, a number of podcasts actually, to make available to our followers.
Yeah, we updated the all our feeds, so everybody's able to download and listen anytime they want to all the recent podcasts that we've done over the last month, including our last episode of This Week in Karting, episode 27, which was recorded at the end of October. All the face-to-face programs that we did throughout the last month, including the Connor Zillage interview, all 3 episodes of our Mazda Motorsports Shootout preview, talking with the 9 different drivers that joined Connor Zillage at the Road Atlanta Shootout, and along with the face-to-face that you conducted with GFC Karting and the Track Magic crew with Gary Carlton, Oliver Askew, and Jason Lapointe. So
that was fun.
It was a good it was a good show to watch. One of the longer face-to-face, not quite the longest that I believe will be is. I think it's on. I think I've got that one. I forgot to add that one.
Let's
talk
about that, Dave,
yeah, hold on.
Yeah, let's talk about that because we got a lot more stuff going up on the EKN Radio Network. Folks, if you're listening to this on podcast and haven't downloaded the EKN Radio Network app yet, that's the first opportunity to listen to all of our content. So you download the EKN Radio app. All you got to do is tap it, and it's always live, 24/7, 7 days a week, karting content. David, I know that you've been streaming this particular episode of This Week in Karting is going to be on this week. You've got the face-to-face with the 2 Mazda Motorsports Shootout winners, Bryson Morris and Alex Berg. You've got more rewinds, more face-to-faces coming. Are you going to get the happy hour up there?
It depends on which ones you want. We have some old ones.
You're the boss. You're the station manager.
Well, like I said, we got... I believe we've gotten 3 of our old happy hours with Howden's already on podcast form and played on the EKN Radio Network. We could do the Smurs one that we talked about earlier in the show. I like
that idea.
Was taped then. But yes, also the longest face-to-face that we had was with Andy Saisman and Sean Beard. That is available in podcast form as well, too. So that's already played on the EKN Radio Network and is available in podcasts.
Well, you can always, the great thing is you can put all that content you can get up on the radio network over the next couple of weeks as well. What is coming up on ekartingnews.com? Dave, what are you working on? I'll tell you what I'm working on, and we'll let people know what they can expect to see coming down the line.
Well, of course, still announcements regarding the 2021 season. We're getting regional and other program schedules that are going to be coming in. Both from the West Coast all the way to the East Coast, down south and north, including news from Canada that we still continue to receive. Obviously, it's going to be another 5 months before they're on track again up there, but that's just how it is. We also have we'll have the final edition of the 2020 EKN driver rankings that will be coming up in the next 2 weeks, along with our November driver of the month. So watch for a number of those articles coming up.
Hey, let's go back to the 2020 EKN driver rankings, because I know that you're going to be doing all the, getting all the information. And of course, people don't understand how much effort and time you put in having to plug every result of all our major races into that spreadsheet, and then, obviously all it spits it out the other end. But I think it's going to be really interesting seeing how it shakes down. There was a Rock the Rio, but there wasn't a Super Nationals. And for those of you who don't know about the EKN driver rankings, it takes your best results from the last calendar year to a certain extent. So 2019 Super Nationals will be dropping off. It'll be an interesting way to see how things shake down for that, David.
Yeah, a lot of drivers that they were still counting or included a Super Nationals result up into, from our last release of it, I believe in October. They couldn't replace it. So that'll be a big factor into looking at how the final standings for 2020 shake out. But again, people were able to improve at, say, Rock the Rio, and could possibly shock the world or move up into the top 10 when previously they weren't. So it'll be interesting to see how both in the shifter category and tag how the top 10 shapes up after what is obviously a crazy 2020 season.
Well, this is the thing. I'm pulling up the website real quick here. Obviously, we're recording this deal, and I want to go in. I want to try to figure out where Oliver Askew is going to tag in.
Well, I mean, it's only one race, so yeah.
I think
he's not going to move up a massive amount of positions, but I mean, he'll have probably one of the highest point totals. He'll have the highest point total for just one race, so that'll be. So you got to figure it's going to be,
well, here you
when you factor in the field size and that, it'll probably be like around 1,100 points.
Yeah, Danny Formal had 1,096 points for winning last year, and I don't think the field was quite as big. So look at him at maybe 1,100 points. Where's Oliver Askew to be ranked? Next, you scroll up here. 1,100 points would put him in the 96th position.
Yeah, so top 100 shifter driver of North America. So
North America. That's fantastic. November driver of the month, as you had said, I'm working on an interview. A one-on-one interview with Garrett Potter. I also sent some questions off to Tom Kutcher from Supercarts USA. Of course, both of those organizations getting rolling with their winter programs in January. So we'll look to get a couple of one-on-one articles rolling as well. So more stuff coming, David. A lot coming down the pipe because really, as I look at my schedule right now, this is kind of, I have a month, maybe a month, let's say 5 weeks until I'm back trackside for the SCUSA Winter Series race at Homestead. So, people always say to me, hey, is it your off season now? Can you take a breather? And I keep telling them, I go, we don't lift off the throttle. If not, even more, we put our heads down and do even more in the off season because there's so much stuff for us to do to line things up for 2021.
Yeah, it's the opposite of you at Rock Island.
What the hell? I take my time at Rock Island.
There's no taking our time.
You know what I do at Rock Island that you don't do? I finish.
Wow. Yeah, I finished all 3 races in 2020 or 2019. Yeah.
That's because you were still thinking about your bruise and your damage to your leg from the year before when you didn't finish.
Hey, it's life-changing, man.
It is life-changing. All right, so let's cap this thing off.
Yep.
Good podcast, a lot of great stuff going on. Thank you so much for tuning in to the This Week in Karting show. David, any final words? What we got to do rolling through to Christmas?
Yeah, we'll try and get one of these before Christmas, maybe, or at least maybe during the Christmas New Year's break because we won't be trackside in Daytona. So maybe we'll do a show during that. Or that time period. We'll see what happens, but hopefully we'll get another one of these out there. And again, watch for more of our face-to-face and other shows that we'll be popping up.
Yeah, lots and lots coming on the EKN YouTube channel, folks. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, we just topped 1,000 subscribers. Let's see if we can't keep pushing that forward. And as always, feel free to drop us a DM, email, DM at any one of our social media platforms. If you have somebody you think is a really cool story in the sport of karting, and maybe they deserve an opportunity to do a face-to-face or something like that with us, give us a story that we want to cover. We'd love that. Human interest stuff is what we're all about. So do us a favor and fill us in on maybe one of the cooler stories that you have in your region or at your club. We do thank you for joining us here on This Week in Karting. Big shout out to AMAX Racing, our presenting sponsor for today's podcast as well. And again, download the EKN Radio Network app, subscribe to the EKN YouTube channel, follow us on all our social media platforms. Thank you so much, folks. Hope you enjoyed it. Book it.